And now, if my math is correct, welcome to the 93rd episode of Wayne's World and the other guy, Kelly. And we do have we have the best guest, and it's like we just trip on him. I'm at the 7-Eleven. I meet this guy, Rick. We're reaching for the last Diet Pepsi. Next thing you know, he's here today. So Rick Arquilla. Say it right. It's Italian. I don't speak Italian.
Close enough. Arquilla, but as long as you just keep talking to me, I'll be okay.
I love it. So for the people that watch TV like me, I'm a big reality TV buff. Rick was on the first season of Undercover Boss because he is are you called the former president and COO?
Well, yeah, former and/or forgotten. You know how that goes.
Oh, no, never forgotten.
You retire, and then it's like, doesn't anybody love me anymore? Why am I not getting phone calls every day?
That's why everybody gets a dog.
Exactly.
That makes them feel important again. So, yeah. But there's so much to cover, and we only have 25, 30 minutes. So we're going to knock it all out as best as we can. Oh, and we have our special guest host. We weren't sure how Wayne was going to do, so we invited Shelly on. This is Nichelle Hastings. She's popping in, Rick. So we will tell her we already started when she hears us. So Nichelle, we already started the show because we were all fashionably on time. So
Well, I had to do a debriefing this morning, gentlemen. Kelly knows that I'm on a special project. It took a little bit longer. So good morning, everyone. I'm interjecting myself.
Hey, Nichelle, how are you?
So Rick.
Wayne, I was singing New York City, the cab drive all the way to the table this morning. Good morning, Mr. G. How are you?
Well, it's obvious Nichelle has joined the Zoom meeting. How are you, Nichelle?
And I got a trophy to prove it.
Nichelle also has an eye issue going on right now, so we weren't sure how Wayne was going to come in today because he's in the back of a cab. He's doing that TV show where you ride in the cab, yes. And I think at a certain points he's going to ask about questions for us to win money.
It's one of my favorite shows. Wayne, you are my hero. Cash Cab. Call it
the Cash Cab.
Actually,
this is all about Rick. So Rick, first we got to talk about the show and what it was like, because that was a little special. But I also want to delve a lot more about what you did in life, and because you've had a great career. I know you're still doing things. You're not forgotten completely. You just moved forward. But what was it like when you got a phone call saying, "Hey"? Did they call you? Did they call one of your people? How? Because I know you used to have people.
Yeah, isn't it great when you can say that? They reached out to one of my people, right? I don't even know what that means, but it sounds really cool, right?
It does sound cool.
Now, what happened is CBS was actually having a hard time marketing the show to companies because the starting point was, well, you're like 60 Minutes or 2020, and nobody wants to be in a gotcha show, right? And CBS is going, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. Hear us out. Da 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 da. So we said no twice.
Wow.
And then on the third go around, they said, how about if we show you an episode that hasn't aired yet, so you can see how it plays and see if that fits for all of you, which we did. And we said yes, but here's the scary part. You have zero editing control, right? So you have, I don't know, pick a number, 300 hours of film over a 30-day period, 5-7 cameras rolling simultaneously. Then my worst fear was, what if they choose to take the worst 45 minutes out of the 300 hours?
Right.
They could make the company look awful. They could make me look awful. They could make every Roto-Rooter employee on the show look terrible. So that was my worst fear. And then I'd have to go answer to the board of directors saying, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I probably shouldn't have. We probably shouldn't have done that.
Right. Me and my people.
Well, here's how it was going to work. we did the show, but Rick, you're in a lot of trouble if it doesn't go well.
Because we did.
You're flying solo. You're flying solo, my friend, if it doesn't go well. Okay.
That's the
So you
other
went in
episode
as-
called The Fall Guy that didn't air.
Right. So you went as Hank Binman, the technician.
Yeah, I mean the way they played it, it was 2010. It was the 75th anniversary of Roto-Rooter. The company was founded in 1935. So the way they sold it to Roto-Rooter, all the employees of Roto-Rooter, is it's a documentary to celebrate the 75th anniversary. So that's why there's all these cameras and everybody's being interviewed and et cetera. So yeah, everybody bought it, and it's amazing if you let your hair grow out and put on some silly glasses, no one recognizes you. I don't know how that works, but walking by people I had known for 20 plus years didn't recognize me. So if you said, "Hey, did everybody just fake it?" and was everybody in on it? No, it wasn't like that.
So
Wow,
when
so
you I've watched a couple episodes of Undercover Boss, and man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've cried when folks like you change people's lives throughout the course. When you were filming this, did it become apparent to you about who you really wanted to help? I guess what I'm saying is, like, did they let you pick the people you wanted to help? Was it done in conjunction, with the producers? Because that's a very emotional time for everybody, the viewers, for you, and for the people that you are helping. It's amazing. Tell us about that.
Wow, great question. I didn't think you'd get right after me this early.
I have to for time
But
purposes.
I know you're on a time constraint here, so wow. Well, how to kind of break that one down? Well, I guess I would start off by saying I had a little naivete going into it, thinking that it's an hour of prime time. What's that worth in terms of advertising to the companies?
Yep.
So I'll volunteer myself if it's good for the brand. It makes the phone ring. We make a couple bucks off of it. We give the people on the show some lovely parting gifts, and we go home. So that and I don't want you to think that I thought it was that simplistic, but if you really understand, really get into why I think the show was so successful, it really wasn't about the boss going undercover.
For sure.
It wasn't about that at all. It was about transformation, either your own transformation or the transformation of others. And I will tell you that it was so transformational for me that what I wanted at the end of the filming was what I wanted and what I needed was some time, some space, the ability to reflect, the ability to think it through. But it didn't work quite like that. It's like, hey man, you've been gone for 30 days, get back, but you got a company to run, get back.
More reality.
Well, yeah, but if you choose to be vulnerable, especially on a TV show with 20 million people watching, that can take a lot out of an individual, right?
I bet.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So yeah, it was transformational for me. I hope it was for the 5 employees who were on that journey with me. I would also tell you that a question I've been asked a lot is, well, who picked the 5 people? I mean, I get how it works, Roto-Rooter. You were going to find the 5 best and brightest you could in your company, so it makes you look great. We did not pick. CBS picked. We just gave them a map.
Okay.
We just gave them a map of the U.S. and Canada and said, "Have at it. You pick."
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that kind of
Okay.
keeps you neutral a little bit too.
Well, neutral, but it also, how real is reality TV if it's all staged, right? I mean,
Right.
Right.
So, you know, if you're going to do the show and it's a reality TV show, then it better be real, because you get to live with that lie the rest of your life if it's not real. You know, it might be good for TV ratings, might be good for the brand, might be good for whomever, the audience, who can sit back and have a glass of wine or a beer and enjoy the show. But if it was all a fake, then for what purpose? You know,
Wow.
Right. Or obviously, all these years later, the way when Wayne asked you that question, it choked you up, and that was wonderful to see. I mean, because it truly had a great impact on you. This was the first season, so you didn't get to watch several seasons of it and go, "This is how I want to be." So the ones that were in it at the beginning, y'all really set the mark of that, and it was a brilliant show. I was a big fan of it. I thought it was very creative and yeah, and I was like, wow, that is pretty vulnerable. And you also like so were you being a technician? Because
well, yeah, well, a couple of points, Kelly. I once we said yes, then I went dark. I didn't want to watch any of the shows. I didn't want to see what other people were saying, what other people were doing, because, you know, think about it. I'm going, oh my gosh, the COO of Waste Management was funny, so I'm going to figure out how to be funny like that guy.
right,
Or this lady was very vulnerable. Oh my gosh, I got to be vulnerable like she was. Well, that's a bunch
right,
of crap. That's a bunch of crap. Be who you are, and if it doesn't resonate with the audience, I guess my mindset was, they're paying me nothing to do this. So if I'm not getting paid to do it, I got to be true to myself. So that was kind of my mantra going into it. I couldn't control who they picked. I couldn't control the questions they were going to ask, but the only thing I had total control over was being true to myself. And I'm very proud of the fact that I did that. Back to your question of, you know, I guess from an entertainment value, they want you to be a technician. They want you to be an inbound receptionist at the call center. They want you to make things at the factory. They want you, you know, et cetera. So they do want to expose you to all the jobs, knowing you're probably not going to be great at them. And it's
right.
somewhat, and it's a little bit humorous and humiliating, right? Because you're going, wow. I'm asking lots of people to do these tasks every single day, and maybe I took some of that skill set for granted, you know,
Right.
and yeah.
Well,
So
everybody has their role. So
well, yeah, but I, you know, one of the lessons learned is, and I would say this to any senior level executive: eat your own cooking once in a while, see what it tastes like.
Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah.
like that.
You know, it's so easy to say, "Hey, I just made a big pot of chili. It's in the kitchen. Everybody go eat it." And they go, "Well, hey, boss, have you tried it?" I go, "Well, that's not. No, I'm the boss. I make the chili. Your job is to eat the chili,
Eat the
right?"
chili. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to eat a lot of my own chili, if you will, and it didn't taste so great. You know, need to work on the
Uh,
recipe. Need to work on the
right,
recipe.
right. I love it.
Rick, you know, this month is mental health awareness. And Courtney Vance, another name you may know, right, from TV,
Yeah.
he authored a book. And the book is called The Invisible Ache. And he's literally talking about thoughtful, wise, empathetic, the capacity to save lives, right? It's inspiring stories, the things that you can achieve professionally and personally, the tools to support. This is what I thought about all night asking you. After the show, after the cameras were off, right? No more people coming to you, they're on to someone else. What were your takeaway points to continue supporting? Because now your team knows who you are. You know what I'm saying? This is when they find out if you were really real or doing it for the cameras. What are some of the tools or the takeaways from then that you're still implementing or sympathetic to now? And how has that changed you as a person and your company?
You know, Kelly, if I'd have known the questions would be this
I don't even know who these
difficult,
people are today.
right? No, I mean, I'll try not to get too philosophical, but I think we are wired from children growing up and wired in our society. Be king of the mountain, climb the hill, kill or be killed, survival of the fittest, right?
For sure.
And that's good and bad. What people admire about the United States, you have a $28 trillion economy. You're the envy of the world. But the other side of that is that you're borderline narcissistic in a lot of the things that you do. And so coming back to me, what I realized is, well, first of all, my fear of doing the show was if they were talking about the culture of the company, it's not fun to work here. I don't have a voice. You don't get treated well, et cetera, et cetera. They were really talking about me. Culture's top down. Culture's top down. Always has been, always will be. So if the culture was not healthy, that's on Rick Arquilla, right? Having said that, felt pretty good about that one. But what I had to rethink, if you want to waste 89 cents or $1.49 or whatever they charge on YouTube to watch the show, one of the things I said when we gathered everyone after the show and I revealed that I'd gone undercover, maybe I won't get it quite right, but I said something like this: you taught me how to do the work, but more importantly, you taught me how to be a better person.
Nice.
And that was not for the TV cameras.
Right.
And that's real. And so if you said what was the most important lesson learned from Undercover Boss, and I had a chance to reflect on it after I retired, caring about your employees isn't enough. It's easy. It's got an on-off switch. I care about them from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Then I'm done and I can go do what I need to do. I think leadership, business leaders in this country need to do a heck of a lot more than care. Now, if the word love doesn't fit into corporate America, I'll say it to all of you that my epiphany was I actually did love my employees. And you get warned, well, that means you care too much.
Yeah.
And you can't be objective. I think that's crap. You love your children. I think you find a way to be objective about your children. I think you find ways to hold them accountable. I think you let them know that when they fail, you're still there for them. And I think if you get inside the psyche of corporate America, we kind of care about one another when it's convenient to do so. And then when it's inconvenient to even go beyond caring, well, then it starts to fall off the rails a little bit. So not to get too heavy here, but yeah, Undercover Boss was transformational. It reinforced some things I believed strongly in, but it forced me to rethink how I chose to go to work every day.
I think the thing that really resonated with me, and I am going to go back and watch the episode with you on it for sure. But the thing that always resonates with me is when you take your frontline employee, the grunt, and then you are next to the grunt, and they have no idea who you are, and they are busting their tails, and they are doing everything, and the ones that really care. And I'm always thinking to myself, this has to affect the CEO. It has to. And if it doesn't, they don't have a heart. That's the stuff that what I would watch the show for, is to see that.
You'll see a scene in the show, A Few Tears for Me, and it went something like this. And I was standing outside the shop floor, but I said something effective, hardworking people get up every day, do their job, bust their ass because that's their job and that's what they do. What I didn't keep saying is, but do we take it for granted? Do we not have an understanding of their lives, what they go through, what they're sacrificing for the company, for their families, and I grew up in a pretty hard scrabble blue collar town that your father was either a factory worker or a farmer, unless he happened to be a doctor or a lawyer, and there'd be a handful of those, right? So I always felt I had good empathy and understanding for the role of the blue collar worker in America. And I think that helped me a bit, right? Working for a national plumbing business, because I can tell you this, that the frontline workers can smell BS a mile away. And if you want to play
especially in the plumbing business.
Yeah, right. But if you want to play the game like I'm just like you, I'm just like you, we're the same.
Right.
What did you practice this crap before you came in here today, right? But if they know you genuinely love them, appreciate them, value them, they'll walk through broken glass for you.
Right.
Because you can't make anybody do something long term. Long term, none of us on this Zoom meeting or anywhere in the world does anything long term because they have to. They do it because they want to.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I didn't have power being the president of the company. I had the platform to influence people. But there's no power. If you think you have power, you haven't really figured it out quite yet.
You're watching too many movies. It's easy. We have a small company. My two partners and I, we started the company saying we were going to build a culture. We care about our people, but it's a couple dozen people. When you've got thousands of them, it's such a larger task.
Well, again, you're selling. I felt my job ultimately was being the person who could sell ideas and sell transformational ideas and see if anybody would buy into it. Making money is the easy part.
Right.
Making money is the easy part. Making money was just me getting my ticket punched to come back next year. To make more money for the company, to get my ticket punched and come back another year. Well, if the only thing that you get out of whatever role you have is making money, how awful is that? If that's all there is.
Absolutely.
I have a question, and it's going to be on the lighter side, right?
Thank you. You guys have been hitting me with the heavy stuff. All right.
If you were a tree.
Do you ever want to just play dress up and be that person again? Like, what was some of the fun things about changing your identity? And because I think you were handsome then and now. I didn't, get into the whole hair thing. You look amazing. You are a very handsome man. But which person do you want to look in the mirror at? Him or you now?
Well, we don't need to gloss over the handsome man piece. We can spend a little more time. Oh, geez. Well, it was an emotional roller coaster to answer, and I will tell you that I did enjoy it immensely, but it was painful because reality TV, especially Undercover Boss, wants to look for the skeletons in the closet. And I'm not throwing Undercover Boss under the bus or CBS. It's good for
Be real.
it's good for ratings, right? And so they knew there was this thing between my father and I, that I was trying to keep the closet door closed. And I won't go into all of that. But, you know, if I had it to do over again, would I do it differently? Absolutely not. What I'm most proud of is everyone told the truth. What I'm most proud of is all the employees told the truth. What I'm most proud of is when they were asked to say something bad about the company on camera, they wouldn't do it.
Wow. Now,
They
how did
wouldn't
your
do
family feel about the whole thing?
it. When it got very personal for me and my wife and children, they were not happy because none of us signed up for that. But then what do you do? Right? I mean,
Right.
so we stayed with it. And I may not have answered the previous question. I mean, I like not 2024 Rick Arquilla more than I like 2010 Rick Arquilla. And if retirement gives you one luxury, you get a lot of time to think and reflect. You don't get that when you're running 100 miles an hour to make money, so you get to keep your job, right?
Right.
So I like the retired, more maybe more humble, more kind, more thoughtful, more generous version of myself today than maybe the role I played for 32 years chasing money.
Wow, that's so good.
That's pretty deep.
That's delicious.
You did that on your own too. That was, you know, but so how is retirement? I mean, obviously it sounds better when you're so busy. My dad transitioned 37 years with a ton of people reporting to him. And then he flipped to golf because he was a great golfer and he was playing 6 days a week for years.
Yeah.
How's the transition? And we didn't want to see him. My mom said, go golfing.
Yeah. I mean, well, I would tell you, Kelly, that good friend of mine, still a great friend of mine, worked at a large multinational public company, was about to retire. And I said, well, then why don't you retire? And his answer was, I haven't figured out what I'm going to retire to. That's
Right.
pretty wise, right? I don't know what I'm going to retire to. So then I started thinking about that. So not to bore you with a couple of transformational things for me, at age 65, I said, you know what I want to do? I want to go back and I want to get my MBA. And it's like, well, why do you need your MBA? You're already the company president and you're about to retire. Well, I wanted my MBA so I could teach MBA students. And you can't teach MBA, you can't teach at the graduate level unless you have a graduate degree, right? So anyway, that's something I knew I wanted to retire to. If you said, where was my passion for the 32 years at Roto-Rooter and the work I did before Roto-Rooter, when I had a chance to be a teacher and I connected with somebody somewhere, somehow, on some level, that's a heck of a lot more gratifying than making money. Right?
Absolutely.
So for me, I knew if I played golf 6 days a week, I would go crazy. I love golf, but it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have been fulfilling enough. It would not have been what I needed. So what I do now, you know, first and foremost, it's my wife and my children and grandchildren. When I get beyond that, I mean, I think selfish gets a bad rap. You know, don't be selfish. Well, you better be selfish enough or you're going to make everybody else's lives miserable.
Right.
Right. So I'm trying to be selfish enough. You might have to check in with Sharon once in a while and see if I'm crossing the line on that one. I don't know. I don't. But for me, beyond the fun stuff, you know, golfing or trips, vacationing, all of that, to keep me centered, it's teaching at the university level, graduate studies, and doing board work and doing startup investing, angel investing work. that keeps me sharp, you know, gives me purpose, feels like
Right.
feels like I'm giving back. And I don't get paid for this part of what I do at the university level, but I career coach and counsel these graduate students.
Oh, that's great.
And it came out of the need that they felt, hey, if I just get my MBA, they're going to line up around at my door and offer me a great job and pay me a lot of money. And so one of my good friends says, "So you're the dream crusher?" And I go, "Well, I don't want to be the dream crusher, but I want to be maybe the reality check person who
You're Mr.
says,
Reality.
why are you getting your MBA?
Right.
What do you want to do with it?" And one of the questions that I love to ask is, what does 50 look like? Not that 50 means there's nothing left after age 50, but I've come to realize, and I've asked this to a lot of my friends in business, if you haven't figured it out by 50, the road gets a little rough going forward. So I ask everyone to project out to what does age 50 look like, and then we'll work it backwards. Do you have 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? What does 50 look like? And the honest feedback is, I have no idea.
Right.
Well, then you got to work on it. And I can't be of any value as a resource till you come to grips with what does 50 look like. And you know what? If you don't get it right, we'll do it again. What does 50 look like? What does 50 look like? I wish I'd had somebody when I was 30 saying, what does 50 look like?
Right. And you know, if I could just interject, I'm loving that. And I want to put it out there because somebody may pick this moment up and think that they need to write a book. But looking forward, right? You might want to take these notes and share that with your class and make it a dissertation or a paper of some sort. But 50 looking forward, because so many people are looking back, trying to relive their younger years and not even enjoying where they are today, knowing that they can go forward in fun, more constant, more consistent, and just more propelled. I love the fact that you reinvented yourself for a purpose, right? Why do you want to get an MBA? Just to say you have another title, right? You got another ring? No, so that I can impart wisdom into someone and help them enjoy their future journey. I totally love that. You get
Yeah, I mean, not to get too heavy, but I think every day we wake up, we get to be the student, or we get to be the teacher, or we get to be both. And for me, it's a good day if I got to be both.
Absolutely.
Who did I learn from today? What happened today that caused me to think and better understand something that I was just oblivious to, never even thought about it before, right? I learned something today. Flip side, was I the teacher today? Did I impart anything? Did I say anything or do anything or ask a question that might have had an impact on somebody's life? What we've been doing for the last whatever minutes is that. I've got to be the student here, got to be the teacher here. Feels pretty good, right? So when we're done with the podcast, it wasn't like my first reaction is, gosh, I hope I did okay. That's no, if I suck, I suck. I can't change that. It's already the record button's already on. We can't erase that.
Oh my God, I forgot to hit record.
but
do over.
Yeah, but if you feel like you really engaged, right, and you let your guard down and you be vulnerable and you don't try to act like something, you don't try to be something, you don't try to put on a good show, you know, for anybody who wants to watch the podcast at a later date. What a insincere, awful way to have to live your life. I mean, Jiminy Christmas. You got to be
gift of bringing on the right people.
Well, you got to be comfortable in your own skin, and that's not easy for everyone, because being comfortable in your own skin means having to deal with some of your demons, right? And having to do a tough look. And man, I had plenty of demons in my childhood. Now I could either be the victim of that or understand it and move on from it. You don't want me being on this podcast sounding like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
I mean, I don't know that there's anybody who hasn't had to deal with something.
Right.
It's how you choose. It's how you choose to deal with it. I mean, because
Victim or victor?
yeah, I mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, I love that victim or victor, and I think too often people can't transform from victim to victor, and we get tangled up in that. And I have a lot of empathy for anyone who is trying to be the victor and they're struggling, because what can I do to help you?
Right.
If the victim wants to say, do you have a few minutes so I can complain to you and tell you how awful my life is? Nope. Sorry.
Nope.
Sorry. I don't have time to enable you. I don't have time to reinforce your faulty thinking. I won't be part of that.
Yeah, because you know the outcome. You've probably lived that person yourself once before, right? That was the character that doesn't fit anybody's future. So yeah. I commend you for that. You're getting another one.
I think this podcast should continue till I get more rewards than anybody who's ever been on your show. That's the narcissist in me, right? I mean, what's the record?
Still got to compete.
Is it 3? Is it 4? I mean, hey, it's only 9:40. Let's keep going. I need to get another one.
Hey, I've never even gotten one.
Look at it this way: as a professor, that they call teachers and professors a thankless job. So you get another one.
Oh my God! Here we go. Here we go.
So with that, first of all, for everybody who's watching, Wayne did disappear. He'll be back next week. He was actually traveling to the airport, so that's how he disappeared. He didn't even say goodbye or anything. I do want to comment that
Wayne.
that's my best professors I had in college were the ones that actually lived life. Matter of fact, even going back to high school, I had a couple teachers that either served in the military for 20 years or 30 years and then came back and did a second career. And the level of information and just the attraction of the student to the teacher, when you know what you're talking about, as opposed to, going out and getting that PhD and being a professor all your life, is so important. And the fact that you're doing that.
And Kelly, to that point, I've learned a lot about how private and public universities are structured. You have to have the right percentage of tenured professors, tenure track professors, teaching professors, and adjunct professors. Right? I'm an adjunct. I'm one level above janitor. Okay. I'm an adjunct professor. Now, to your point, students tend to gravitate towards adjuncts because you've been there, done that.
Sure.
Right? You're not talking theory. You're bringing your life's experiences, good and bad, into the classroom, and they're going, "Wow, that's good." Hey, Dad, tell me another story. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that. But my point is, I have a great understanding for the challenge of a university. I've spoken to the president of the university. I've spoken to the dean of the business college, and I'm going, why don't we have more adjunct professors? Here's the truth. They would lose funding. They would lose accreditation.
Right, which means they need to figure it out from the ground up and change.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they have to play within the rules that are established. It doesn't matter.
Change the rules.
Well, that's right, but changing the rules would require people in Washington having to rethink the business model.
Did you just say rethink in Washington?
Right, but
I'm not sure if a lot of thinking's going on, but
yeah. And frankly, too, the adjuncts don't have me as an adjunct. I don't worry much about my tenureship or job security. I don't.
Right, sure.
That's not on my list of things that I have to be careful about. I'm an ex-corporate person who is retired that is involved as an adjunct professor. So I go in thinking about how can I make a difference in people's lives. I don't wake up every day going, how many more years till I'm tenured?
Right.
How many papers do I have to, how much research and papers do I have to write this year to check the box on staying tenured, et cetera, et cetera. So a tenured professor or anyone on the track to become tenured has a very different agenda. In some ways, I don't know how much they love being in the classroom.
Right.
Because
They're
it
like
takes away,
workaholics.
well, it takes away from the research and the papers they have to write to maintain their tenureship.
Right.
And you know, I just want to say this one thing, Kelly, before you come in. The fact that you don't have to stress it, right? You are probably so much more of a viable resource than those that have something to prove or a place to maintain. And so I think that you can freely, that you, when you walk into that campus, I think every student, even faculty or other advisors, are getting the best person possible that they can have. And on the things that you bring to the table. So I hope you will invite me to be a visiting adjunct. I just want to be a part of your world and sing the jingle in the class. Call Roto. No.
If you will sing the jingle, I'll put you in the front row. How does that sound?
Oh, boy, there's nothing she won't do. So the great James LaGreca, my business partner, is an adjunct professor. And his, you know, our business is growing and we're doing all kinds of things. And he's a great mentor to our team. His favorite part of everything is teaching. And he does it because he's been in the business for 30 years. He knows what he's teaching like you do. And that's the great Kenny Sugars was a federal agent, a U.S. Marshal. I went to college with him. You don't know. He's brilliant. And he's been a professor now in Augusta, Georgia, since he retired, and brings so much to criminal justice.
Well, to your point, Kelly, I mean, not everybody has their brains wired to be teachers. Mm-hmm. There's conscious competence and unconscious competence. An unconscious competent is someone who's just good at it and doesn't know why they're good at it.
Right.
I'll use golf as an example. Tiger Woods was good at golf, but he knew why he was good at golf. He was a conscious competent. He spent a tremendous amount of time analyzing every aspect of the golf swing, the grip, the stance, the this, the that. But I've also been golfing with people who would hit it 300 yards down the middle, and I go, how do you do that? And they go, I don't know, I'll show you again.
I'm swinging at it.
Here's another one. And so the person who can do it and do it well, but they don't think about the skills and why they're good at it, don't make for great teachers. They don't. You have to be able to get outside yourself and say, why am I good or bad at this? And what am I learning from this? And then how do I take that and give it to someone else? So teaching isn't saying, here's what I'm good at. Teaching for me is, here's the skills we need to be good at. I'm not suggesting whether I've got them, all of them or not, but here's the insight to it, right? Here's it's not the what, it's the how and the why that needs taught. And so I'm not trying to get too heavy here, but I've seen a lot of people who, I've seen my friends who said, I think I'm going to teach after I graduate or after I retire.
Right.
And they weren't good at it. And I'm not saying I'm good at it. I'm just saying their brains weren't wired to be teachers.
I got a feeling you're pretty good at it.
Their brains were wired to say, I'll show you again how I did it. I'm happy to share with you my career. I'm happy to share with you my successes. But if the question then, the follow-up is, well, how did you do it? And you go, I just worked hard. Well, that's not terribly insightful.
No.
Right.
That's not a transferable skill, right?
Yeah.
On the lighter side, my son-in-law's brother, we were coming home from my daughter's wedding reception in Woodstock, Vermont. We're walking back to the hotel. And he says, all right, I got to ask you, what's the secret? And I go, what do you, I don't, this is midnight. Everybody's had a couple of glasses of wine, whatever. He goes, don't hold out on me, man. What's the secret? I just graduated from law school at Duke, and I want to be in the corner office, and I want to make a lot of money, just like you have. What's the secret? I go, well, that's a pretty good question. I said, okay, you ready? He goes, yep. There's no secret. And it's like,
oh,
no, he thought there's like some secret sorority fraternity and a handshake,
right,
and a backdoor pass and a pathway. And no, it isn't like that. Now, hey, does somebody get a head start over others? Yeah. Does somebody get connected because people know people? Yes. But at the end of the day, it isn't about that. I mean, yes, I would tell you if you came from a well-heeled family that knew a lot of people and could get you into the best universities in this country, do you have a head start over others? Of course. But that doesn't determine the outcome.
Right.
and that's not how you do it.
It just changes where you are in the starting blocks. If that person is a half a lap ahead of you, or a lap ahead of you, or 5 laps ahead of you due to privilege, well, do you want to be to you, Kelly? Do you want to be the victim or the victor?
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Get
way
up early or work harder.
Yeah, and the way my mind was worked is you will start looking over your shoulder because I'm gaining on you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
This blue collar kid from Mount Vernon, Ohio is gaining on you. It's got to be driving you crazy. It's got to be mommy and daddy can't help you, and I'm gaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it. We are way over time. I'd love to continue doing this, but I don't want to get in trouble with our sponsors.
Yeah.
Callaway.
There you go.
We don't really have sponsors. Callaway's my granddaughter's name. So I also have Callaway Golf. I think that's the only my daughter.
I mean, heck, maybe this is episode 1 and 2. Maybe
we're going to bring you back on for sure. If you'll give us the time, we're going to bring you back on. But Wayne, I hope you have a safe flight. Michelle, I hope your eye feels better. Rick, we have to play around the golf soon. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. And I'm just thrilled that you came on, and we want to bring you back.
Well, it's been an honor and pleasure as well. Had not met either one of you 24 hours ago, and to be on your podcast and share life's experiences is a blessing for me. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It is for us. So everybody have a great rest of the week. You made our day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.